Psalm 139 says that all the stages of our life were planned by a loving God. Every one of our days recorded before we were born. But some of the potential realities of aging seem merciless, even cruel. Alzheimer's being one of the dominant fears. Probably someone you know and love has brought it home for you. We want to talk about it with a husband and wife team of physicians. Dr. Mark Chandra has practiced as a family and emergency room physician in many parts of Southern Ontario and Eastern Ontario. He currently lives in my hometown of Peterborough, Ontario. He recently retired as student secretary of the International Christian Medical and Dental Association based in Vellore, India. His partner in life and medicine is Dr. Jyoti Katakkar, who we both work in Lindsay, primarily at the beautiful Ross Memorial Hospital.
Beautiful indeed.
Great to see that go up.
It is, yeah.
Many years after I worked in Lindsay. Yeah, don't ask me the years, but that was back there in the 70s. And it's still a relatively new hospital.
It sure is, and it's a great place to work. It's a nice small hospital, and all the doctors know each other, and the nurses and the staff, and I think it helps us provide a nice, friendly, good level of care there at the Ross.
And you have a very interesting rotation system for both your practice away and at home with 3 children,
We
7,
do.
9, and 11, Jody?
That's right. We've got a 11-year-old daughter and then 2 sons, 9 and 7. And so but Mark and I share our job, and we also share the household responsibilities as well.
So while one's at the hospital, one's at home.
Exactly. We've been alternating days now for the last 8 years of practice, and it's been one of the best decisions we've ever made. It's our kids always get to have a parent at home, and our patients are lucky enough always to have 2 opinions, 2 doctors, and her opinion's way better than mine.
And Peterborough's been good to you, I hope.
It's been a great place to live, and Lindsay is a great place to work, and they're only half an hour apart, so the commute's not too bad.
Well, I have to get Jyoti to say her middle name because it's music to my ears.
It is Moira.
Listen to that.
It's always wonderful to meet Moira.
Which parent was Scottish? Mum?
My mother, yes.
Very cool.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, you're so young. Wow.
Thank you.
But you deal a lot with elderly patients.
We sure do.
Alzheimer's is something you're dealing with all the time.
Exactly. Jyoti and I work as hospitalist physicians at the Ross Memorial Hospital. That means it's our job to look after inpatients, that's people who are admitted to the hospital, that either don't have a family doctor or whose family doctors no longer do hospital work. And as you can imagine, that's a lot of people, and it's the vast majority of the people at our hospital. And Lindsay being the town that it is, and medical illness being the way that it is, most of our patients are quite elderly, and a tremendous number of them suffer from dementia, including Alzheimer's disease.
Well, we got the baby boomers moving into the zone, and there's just a lot of discomfort, a lot of fear around this. Now, you use the word dementia. Are they not different, Alzheimer's and dementia?
They are different. So the umbrella term would be dementia. So dementia, somebody who suffers from dementia has difficulty with their cognitive processes or their thinking processes. A form of dementia is Alzheimer's disease.
Okay.
So Alzheimer's is a specific form of a dementing illness, and there are other forms of dementing illnesses as well, such as vascular dementia or Parkinson's dementia. But you're right, often you will hear the term Alzheimer's used interchangeably with dementia, but correctly understood, it is a type of dementing illness.
Alzheimer's being the most common form of
Definitely.
dementia.
Yeah.
All too common. All too common.
Yeah.
And, losing faculties, obviously distressing, losing dignity, and personal independence. Big part of this, the other big part for couples, the crisis of, I know we've got people watching right now who are caring for a spouse who is becoming a great deal of demand, too much. And then you've got the emotional crisis of what feels like betrayal in delivering them to a different kind of care out of the home.
Yeah.
How are you approaching all of this?
You've said that all so well. I mean, the sheer burden of Alzheimer's disease in this nation, it's almost mind-boggling. I think the statistic was 15% of people in Canada right now over the age of 65 suffer from some type of cognitive delay, of which dementia is one of them. And 15% of people over the age of 45 are looking after somebody who is suffering from some form of dementing illness. So imagine the sheer number of hours going in to take care of one's elderly relatives, the loss of work time, the unpaid hours, the impact it has on kids and all the other people you're trying to look after. And, you know, like you said, cruelly enough, combined with the social stigma associated with having one lose their faculties in one way of putting it. It's something else.
Now, you're the doctors.
Yeah.
Let's deal with the medical part
Yep.
in these few minutes. Seems every week there's something new in the news, some new research, some discovery, whether it's about diet or exercise or brain exercises, what to do, what not to do to preserve those cognitive skills. What do you make of it?
Well, I think it's important to emphasize that lifestyle choices and modifications can make a difference. I would say that the hereditary component, is this something that you inherit? The number of cases that are inherited from your parents, from your family, are very small.
Oh, so that's not a big factor.
No.
It's
Good to
not,
know.
yeah, and it's one of the myths of Alzheimer's disease or of dementia is that if I had a parent that had dementia when they were older, then it means I'm automatically going to have it as well, and that is not the case at all. There is, some forms of hereditary dementia, but they're a relatively small number. I think it's somewhere like 5 to 10%, and that's specifically the familial early onset form of dementia.
Would you have a short list of things you would tell your patients, those who are fearful, to do or not do?
I definitely would. I think one of the things that I try to communicate, I guess, to my patients, and I even had this conversation with one of my sons recently. I was trying to tell him this. I told him, it's not that you have a soul, you are a soul, you have a body. And a lot of the loss of dignity that people have with Alzheimer's disease is that they almost feel like, since they are no longer able to interact with the physical world because of the limitations of their brain, it's almost like there's something wrong with their soul. And that's not the case at all.
Now, this you're referring to, for example, change in personality, violent behavior, anger.
Exactly.
That can manifest.
They
with
sure
Alzheimer's.
can manifest. Now, the good news is those are the manifestations of the later forms of the disease. Earlier on with dementing illnesses, the most common ones are forgetfulness. You can forget all sorts of things, forget how to do common tasks, forget people who are very close to you, have difficulty time using words. But yes, indeed, as the diseases do progress, you can get into things like personality changes, even hallucinations, or
Paranoia sometimes moves in.
It's
doesn't it?
definitely there.
Could I also add that a lot of people will come to us, especially in family practice, concerned that they may be starting to
Early signs.
that they've got early signs of dementia, and it is important to highlight that there are other causes of memory loss. Depression is definitely high on that list.
Yes.
And so seeking the assistance of your family physician early on is important, because we can look at evaluating why some of these symptoms are coming up, and it may not be dementia.
Exactly.
The scripture says, though outwardly we are perishing, inwardly we are being renewed day by day. Years ago, I was speaking at a seniors' home, and I must say, this particular group was really frail. They really seemed to be failing, many in wheelchairs around me. And I will never forget when we began to sing the hymns. It was just like putting helium in the balloon.
Yeah.
Without a book, they perked up and they sang verse after verse.
That's incredible. Like, the essential self still remains. Like, imagine a driver in a car. If there's something wrong with the car that prevents the car from, say, turning left, you think no less of the driver for that. It's just simply something wrong with the machine that the driver uses to get around. It's the same thing with Alzheimer's and dementia. The essential person that God loves and that we should love is still in there, but it just has a difficult time manifesting itself because of something going on in the brain itself, you know?
Much patience, much grace needed. I think one of the simple things is not to say to that dear one, you've already told me that, or you've said that before. I think some of those little things help to deflect the stress and tension.
Oh, for sure.
But help too, not to go it alone.
Oh, there's so many things you can do. Maintaining dignity, not talking about the person like they're not there. You can really inadvertently hurt people's feelings that way.
And yet it's so difficult when you are the caregiver, facing the memory loss hour after hour to maintain your patience. And one thing that we always encourage is looking for the outside supports. So getting in touch with the Alzheimer's Society, if Alzheimer's is what you're dealing with, that would be an excellent resource for families. The other thing is home care support. A lot of families are very hesitant to allow home care support in, maybe because the patient themselves is reluctant to have other caregivers coming in. But what that can do is alleviate some of the stress on the caregiver and allow better quality of time, so that when the caregiver is allowed a bit of relief, they can come back a little bit refreshed and
More precious moments.
Oh, what a difference it makes.
Instead of
preserve
stressed
those
out
precious
moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody knows like the person who's there 24/7, the kind of pressure and stress that a season like the one we're discussing can present. Doctors, thank you. Thank you for your wisdom.
Yep. We're family doctors are always around to help. You know, if you think you're having issues with your memory or a loved one is, the first thing I would do is go see your doctor. They're going to ask you lots of questions. They're going to order some tests. And you know what? The good news is there's research going on right now in terms of ways that the diseases can be treated. They're in their early stages, but there is definitely hope.
Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
God
no
bless you.
God bless
Maybe I'll bump into you
Yeah.
when I get home one of these days.
Absolutely. Look
Know where
us
to
up.
find you.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope this has been encouraging for you, and maybe you're one of those people with the heavy load. Maybe you're just dealing with fear because you've got some symptoms that are unusual. You know, why don't call our prayer line right now and just let us help calm your spirit and maybe encourage you in next steps. We're here for you.